the Florida Keys. Over 120 miles of Coral Cay Islands stretching and curving south-southwest from Biscayne National Park to Key West. Since I moved here, I met a lot of interesting people. Some serious, some funny, some with the American dream, and others just looking to escape the reality of the mainland of the United States. So kick off your flip-flops, grab a cocktail, and let me introduce you to some key people. Downtown Islamorada, a city buzzing with activity, especially on a Monday morning at 9 a.m. People running to and fro, getting things done, setting up their workspaces for the long and rigorous day ahead. The activity here is electric. There goes a car now. All right, so it's not New York City, Paris, or Prague. It's not steeped in cultural history. It's a small drinking village with a fishing problem. But we do have a cultural district here, and sitting at the head of our cultural district is a man named Pasta. His real name is Roberto Pantaleo, owner of Pasta Signature Galleries in the heart of downtown Islamorada. He has been a painter, a sculptor, and even an airbrush artist since his early days in Brooklyn, New York. Originally hailing from Bari, Italy, his family immigrated to the United States in the 1960s, where the lure of the sea at Coney Island and the Jersey Shore soon fueled his passion for painting the sea life that has become his trademark. I caught up with Pasta on a sweltering summer day in August at his gallery to ask him about his life, his art, and why he brought his talent here to Islamorada.
My name is Pasta. I was born in Italy, in Bari, in southern Italy, almost on the coast, a little coastal town in Bari. It was really cool. Kind of reminds me of Islamorada a lot, actually. Family migrated to Brooklyn, New York, where we were immigrants. The whole family was born in Italy, and we migrated to Brooklyn, New York. And I grew up in the middle of the hood, as you would say, in the middle of Brooklyn, with brothers and sisters, and soon became fascinated with the ocean and hung around Coney Island and the rocks there and all that. So Brooklyn was pretty cool stomping grounds when you were a young kid back in those days. I didn't like the concrete, didn't like the buildings, but like I said, I did like going to the shore. And I liked Jersey Shore, and I liked Coney Island. And I remember spending a lot of time in Coney Island. That was a real fun thing for me to do. And anytime I went to a beach, Brighton Beach, you know, I was a water kid at heart, even though I was transplanted in the middle of the city from Italy. My brother, Nick, which is 20 years older than me, kind of how I got my nickname Pasta. He was the original Pasta in our neighborhood for his heavy accent, and they couldn't pronounce our last name, which is Pantaleo. So the Americans would just slang it off to saying Pasta Fazool. Hey, here comes Pasta Fazool, which is my brother. And he was the one that actually, he ended up marrying a girl that her dad lived in Islamorada. His name was Barracuda Al in the 50s and 60s. And he kind of was doing a lot of fishing back here. And we came here on vacation. Even as a young boy at 12 years old, I knew I'd live here one day. I had a graphic business in Hollywood, Florida, and I was doing marine art as a new endeavor late in my 40s because I was doing a lot of fishing and fishing tournaments. I was doing graphics for fishing tournaments, and what happened was I started doing the art guild down here, and I was coming down for weekends for the art shows, and I started garnishing some clients and collectors right away. It seemed like they liked my art. And I started making a migration later on in life, around 45, 46 years old. Sold my sign and graphic business after 24 years in Hollywood. And I was part-time here at that time, back and forth a lot. And I realized that there was clients here and friends and a great mix of people that loved the type of art I was interested in. And this is the place I wanted to be, so it just made sense. We're a very hometown gallery. This is a 1937 Red Cross house, which I'm proud to be involved in. It was after the hurricane of 35 that the Red Cross built 30 of these homes. This is the only one that is actually a commercial unit. Most of them have been bought up and lived in the neighborhood.
Now, to get a good idea of why Pasta is so honored to be in one of these small Red Cross houses that are nearly 100 years old, well, here's the deal. In 1935, the worst hurricane ever in recorded U.S. history centered in on Islamoradas and made landfall on Labor Day. The devastation and destruction it left in its path was staggering. A Category 5 with winds at nearly 200 miles per hour raged against Upper and Lower Matecumbe Key. Nearly every building was demolished. Roads, bridges, even the railway, all gone. After 3 days, the sea began to spit out swelled, lifeless bodies. Some cracked and split open under the intense heat of the Florida sun. Public health officials ordered the bodies burned to prevent disease. The dead washed up as far away as Flamingo and Cape Sable in the now Everglades of the Florida mainland. In total, it is estimated that 485 people lost their lives. Not long after, the Red Cross, with the help of the Federal Emergency Relief Administration, came in to build houses for those that survived. They only built 30. So, proud and honored to be in one of these houses? Yeah, I can see that.
So we're in a very special place, and we specialize in marine art and coastal living art, and it's been my passion since I was a kid. All I ever wanted to do is fish and coastal marine art, so it's a kind of a dream come true after all these years. When I moved to the Keys, it was more of a fishing, drinking village, and there was not as much culture. I don't want to take too much credit, but there was a void. And when I started the Art and Culture District, being an Italian guy and from New York, I have kind of one way of doing things, wide open. And the community received that well. We put music on the street, we put art on the street. Now we have young people coming through the art district. 5.5 years later, it's bigger and better than ever, and we have some great partners. We have probably over 25 partners in the Art and Culture District throughout the community. The brewery had popped up, and Blue Marlin Jewelers, and all the different shops and the little small places, and all the artists come out of the woodwork to hang out in our little area. And we have an art walk once a month, featured artists. We have jazz festivals. We have bluegrass festivals, countless art shows that we're responsible for, and mentoring young people in the arts. We're an advocate for the young people in the community. And if you talk to any of the grade schools through the high schools here, they all know that they've had these kids come to the art district, and the teachers are smiling ear to ear over that aspect. It's just such a great place, close to Key West. We're in Islamoradas. You have Key Largo to the north, which is the diving capital world. We're the sport fishing capital world, and Key West is, I guess, everything else of the world is there. So you have everything. You got the universe in Key West, and I feel we're special in Islamoradas. I love Islamoradas. It's got a little halo over it. It's not either one of those. It's something special to me. The low profile of the architecture and the birds and the fish and the people and the history, the generations of families that have been here is really, really important. This is a 1937 Red Cross house, like I said, and I have countless people who came and said, when I was a young boy, we had Christmas in that room over there, and an elderly woman came and said, this is my grandfather's house. I used to play here in the yard, and behind us there was nothing between here and the ocean. So you're talking about a time and space in a small island setting that hasn't changed from generation to generation. Yeah, we have more buildings, a few more here and there, but the vibe is the same, and the people are the same. And they'll tell you countless stories about Islamoradas in the 50s and the 60s and the 70s and the 80s. We have Skip Radine, which is our kind of our unofficial mayor. He's a fishing captain, and he used to play baseball in the street. He's been here, same dock, for 50 years. So this little town, and it's always been romantic. That's the one thing I can tell you about Islamoradas. The romance of this town is almost like a novel in itself. It's almost like Hemingway would have probably lived here if he didn't find Key West, you know. So I find it to be that way for myself. I'm getting older in this town, and I'm starting to get into that romantic part of my life in the middle of town, where I can go play my drums on a certain night and meet my friends, and then I can, you know, paint all during the day and paint during the night, and clients come into town and buy our art. And now, a dozen years later, life's getting really, really good as an artist in Islamoradas. Especially for me particularly, it's a dream.
So are you happy here?
I am extremely happy here. I go to sleep at night. Sometimes I lay in the bed and I do an exhale. I look around between the moon rising on the ocean and the sun setting. This place here, it's the American Caribbean. It's United States of America, no disrespect to any other country, but we're in the United States, and we're sitting in a Caribbean honky-tonk village like no other that I've found. And I've traveled around, and without leaving the country, this is about as cool as it gets for being on an island with an island setting, an island pace, island waters. Our fishing is still holding up very well. We have sea turtles nesting on our beach in record numbers down here. We just had a leatherback down here for the first time in the history of the Keys down at Bahia Honda. That means that everything's right with our little slice of life here, because nature will pick and choose what it does, and for us to have this much nature in tune in a small setting, and being an artist, you know things are right, at least in our little world. So the wildlife's very important. As the wildlife goes, so does humanity. So and I paint coastal wildlife for a living, so that's why I'm here studying my entire life's work, and I could not be happier here. I'm embedded into the community. We do a lot of fundraising. If somebody gets hurt, or there's a problem, or somebody has a disease, we all band together and we raise lots of money and support to help each and every individual that needs it. And it's ongoing, almost to the point where, you know, you really have to feel for a lot of friends. They're close friends, and if they fall in hard times, it's like it's your neighbor. And so it's a small village, and I'm a small village guy.